Mataji.
मधुरं मधुरेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलम् पावनं पावनेभ्योऽपि हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् आब्रह्मस्तम्भपर्यन्तम् सर्वं मायामयं जगत् सत्यं सत्यं पुनः सत्यम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् सगुरो सपिता चापि समता बन्धवोऽपि सः शिक्षये चेत् सदा स्मर्तुम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् निश्वासे नाहि विश्वासः कदा रुद्धो भविष्यति कीर्तनीयमतो बाल्यात् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरि सदा वसेत् तत्र यत्र भागवता जनाः गायन्ति भक्तिभावेन हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् अहो दुःखं महादुःखम् दुःखतरं यतः काचार्थं विस्मृतं रत्ना हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् दीयतां कर्णो नियतां वचः गीयतां नित्यम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् तृणीकृत्य जगत् सर्वम् राजते सकलोपरि चिदानन्दमयं शुद्धम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Shri Kevalashtakam ki jai. So today we will see the 8th verse of Kevalashtakam. So in the series of Kevalashtakam seminar series, we have seen 7 verses earlier and we have understood the glories of the holy name and why Hare Nameva Kevalam. Today we will see the text 8. What it says, Trini Kritya Jagat Sarvam Rajate Sakalopari Chidanandamayam Shuddham Hare Nameva Kevalam. It makes The entire universe seem insignificant as a blade of grass. Trinikritya Jagat Sarvam. It reigns supreme over all in a splendorous manner. Rajate Sakalopari. It is full of eternally conscious divine ecstasy. Chidananda Mayam Shuddham. What it is? It is supremely pure, Shuddham. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Now, Trini Kritya Jagat Sarvam. So it makes the Jagat, that is the entire universe, as insignificant as the blade of grass. So in this world, when we want to, represent, or when we want to, indicate that something is insignificant, then generally we say, like, it's like you are like a blade of grass. Okay. Even when we want to glorify the divine order, then we will say even a blade of grass cannot move without the will of the Lord, right? So the whole world is actually very big, okay, very significant, but that will also become so insignificant as a blade of grass. So what does this mean in actual? So some people talk about positive thinking. They see that, if you see that a half, yeah, a glass which is filled half only, then you should not say, like, it is half empty. What you should see is that it is half full. So people talk about positive thinking and they ask us to change the perception. So in a way that is right. But bhakti is not only about changing our perception. Bhakti is also is about changing our perspective, right? So example, we have used one example in the second verse when we are discussing that when we see, when we are walking on the road, and on the other one side we see that there is a 50-story building, and on the left hand side we see only one-story building. So when we are walking on the road, the difference is very, very huge. But that same difference will become insignificant if we are flying in a plane and seeing the same two buildings. So the 50-story building or one-story building both looks insignificant. So this is called as changing the perspective. So when we talk about perception, we are changing what we see. But when we are talking about changing the perspective, that means we are changing from where we are seeing, right? When we are walking on the ground, we have one perspective. When we are looking from the flight, from the top view, we'll have the another perspective. So we are changing the perspective. So when we come into bhakti, we start thinking about that we are not the body, we are soul. So what is important for the soul, we'll start thinking from that perspective. So bhakti actually changes our perspective. But also bhakti not only changes our perception or perspective, but actually changes even the point of reference. Now, for most of the people, the world around us is becomes the reference. Some people will, like, they are always hooked to see the news. Okay, so all the time they are looking at the news, and earlier it was only one news channel, and now we have, many news channels in different languages, and people are like watching the news, and there is always some breaking news is coming. So it is being said that the breaking news is breaking at every moment. And what happens, all that news will start impacting our consciousness. For many of the people, they might be sitting in a very comfortable place with all the safety, but when they see the news, they'll start getting panicking. During the COVID times, many of the people have suggested, like, do not watch news. Otherwise, you'll get more, panic. So more than people dying out of, COVID, actually the panic that, I may die is actually killing more people. So when we see the news, what will be there? Most of the times it is all bad things. Who has done what bad to another person? So one of the sociologists was being asked, like, what is the definition of news? So then he said, like, news is that old things are happening to new people. That is called as news. So we see all the news, if you just, conglomerate and just condense all the news, then it will be basically the same things which are happening to the new people. Today I got cheated, tomorrow someone else got cheated. So today this is the news that I got cheated, tomorrow the news is somebody else got cheated. So the news is actually, what is the thing? The old things are happening to the new people. So when people see the news and when they see what all things happening around, all of them will actually impact their consciousness. And they feel like whatever change is happening in this world, that has to has huge impact on me. So whatever bad is happening around us, that means my life is also bad. Whatever good happens around me, then only something good is happening with me. So the reference will be only the world that they can see. But actually, bhakti talks about a different kind of reference. Now, for an example, when we are flying in a flight, so if you are having a window seat, if you are fortunate, sometimes you will get a window seat. So when, let us say, the flight is going on in the sky and you are sitting at the window seat and you look outside the window, what you can see is like, there will be clouds and you will feel like that the flight is moving very, very slow. The aeroplane is moving very slow. Sometimes in some of the flights, there will be LCD screens where there will be display of what height we are, 35,000 feet height, 500 kilometers per hour speed. All those will be displayed. But when you look at the window, it doesn't look like 500 kilometers per hour. It looks like it is moving very slowly. But as it reaches the landing point and it is gradually landing, then we see and we experience the speed that, the many homes or grounds and all just whizzing by. They are going very, very fastly. And that time we actually experience that the plane is moving very fast. So if we have a point of reference as the vast sky, the unlimited sky, then we actually see that the flight is moving very slow. But when it is coming and touching the ground, we see that, it is moving very, very fast. So the same plane moving with the same speed, but when we change the reference point, when it is sky, it is looking slow. And when we look at the world or the ground, then what is happening? It is moving very fast. So similarly, in bhakti, what happens is many people will see the impact of bhakti based on what is happening around the world around me. Okay, so if something is good happening in my circumstances, in my financial condition, or some or other way which I can tangibly see, then only I will feel like, okay, it is working. So whatever bad happens outside in the outside world, that will start impacting them. But as we grow in bhakti, then what will happen? Our point of reference will not be what is happening in this world, but we will start seeing from the ultimate world, that is our spiritual world. So if I compare to the world that I wanted to go, what is the impact I should let, what kind of impact I should let it enter into my consciousness and disturb me? So we will decide. So similarly, when we talk about like small changes also, let us say some share market is crashing, or maybe something is happening bad outside the world, that will have an impact. Definitely when we are living in the world, that will have an impact, but that won't impact much if we are focusing on the spiritual world. If we think that this is the only world which I have to live, then anything wrong that is happening around the world will start impacting us very huge amount. But if we feel like, this is a temporary place, okay, I have to survive here for some time, but this is not going to be my home. So I have to think more about the spiritual world. Then the way we live, then the way we take the things into our consciousness will change. Some people, when they come to temple, they say like, when we come to this especially the ISKCON temple, or especially the Krishna temple, we see that Krishna is playing the flute. Okay, and he is not blessing us, because when you go to other temples, all the god actually giving the blessings only. So Krishna is actually blessing us. I mean, actually Krishna is blessing us so much that he is playing the flute, and he is asking us and inviting us so that we can go back to the spiritual world and participate in his pastimes. But if our point of reference is like this world only, this material world only, then what we will think? So Krishna wanted us to go to the spiritual world and participate in his pastimes. So if our spiritual world is the reference for our life, then we can understand this. But if our reference is material world only, then what will happen? We will ask Krishna to bless us and help us so that we can perform pastimes in this world only. So Krishna is asking, go back to the spiritual world, participate in my pastimes. And what we are asking, Krishna, you help me, you bless me, so that I can perform pastimes here and you watch. So this is the difference between the material world and spiritual world. When we have, like, some people come up in bhakti, or some people start devoting to the God, they think that, if I go to God, things will become better. Okay, I may have a peaceful life. So I don't want to go to the God. I don't want to go back home, back to Godhead like that. All those things, the pure devotional things, I'm not aiming for. What I'm thinking is, if I take the shelter of God, things will become better in this world only. And that is what I'm looking for. So what is happening here? So their reference is this world only, right? And as long as we have this world as the reference, then any change that happens in this world will have a huge impact on our consciousness. So that is the reason, if we observe our life also, 6 months back or 1 year back, there were so many problems in our life. Maybe now also we have so many problems. But the impact those problems have on our consciousness, and the impact that they had 1 year or 2 years back when we were not in Krishna consciousness, if you compare, you can see a huge amount of difference. The problems may be still there, but they are actually not troubling us so much. Okay, we have to deal with them definitely. We doesn't say that, we just ignore them, but actually we don't let them consume our consciousness. So it's not that we don't care about the world, but the world's ups and downs are not going to affect us as much as they used to affect us uh, in the past, right? So what is happening is, now our reference point has changed. We are not thinking too much about how I can live happy in this world, but we are thinking more about how I can go back home, back to Godhead. So for a devotee, the reference point will be changing. So when Srila Prabhupada went to Washington, okay, somewhere near the Washington, and that time he was telling that, I came to this remote corner of the world to preach Krishna's message. And all the Americans were listening over there. So Srila Prabhupada was near Washington, and he's telling that I came to the remote corner of the world to preach Krishna's message. Now, for most of the Americans, America feels like the center of the world. And for some people, they are so much obsessed with their own country that they feel the world begins from the East Coast and ends at the West Coast. So for them, the reference of looking at the world is like America is the center only. But for a devotee, Krishna is the center. And wherever Krishna performed his Leela, that will become the center of the world. Not any kind of, maybe America is a geopolitically can be a center of the world. But for a devotee, wherever there is a lot of devotion, that becomes the center of the world, isn't it? So when Srila Prabhupada came to Mayapur and he just purchased some land, very little bit land. So that time few disciples were there. His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj and His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj were there. So few disciples were there, and no one was around. And Prabhupada was looking here and there, and he said, yes, we got this land. Now we will make this as the international headquarters for Krishna consciousness movement. So then the disciples were looking around. None of them are seeing any single human being over there. All they can see is the overgrown sugarcane grass and all, and no one around us. So Prabhupada, actually, this is the remote corner of the world, and you are telling that you want to make this as an international headquarters. Now Prabhupada said, you have only material vision. Now you have to understand that here the Yuga Avatara, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come, and he has given the Yuga Dharma, the Sankirtan movement he has started here. So this is actually the center of the world, and we have to have our international headquarters over here. So for a devotee, the reference is that devotion, the spiritual world. So the supreme personality of Godhead is actually the reference. So wherever he is there, Lord is there, that becomes the center. So maybe geopolitically, maybe according to the wealth and all, America may be very much wealthy and very much advanced, right? But whenever there is no devotion, no matter how much advancement is there, it is not called as the advancement. It is just advancement in the sense gratification facilities, not in the devotion, and that won't help any jiva to go back to Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada's vision and was spiritual, and all others' vision was little material. So that is why this is the same difference we see in many people. So when we practice Krishna consciousness, so many times people will ask like, what changes happened in your life? Did you get a better job? Did your financial problems got solved? Did your health problems got solved? So for them, the reference is always what I can tangibly see in this world only. But a devotee thinks like, the problems will always be there. Just by solving some problems in this world, I'm not going to stay happy here, because the problems will keep on coming. This is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So what I have to do, I have to somehow or other way I have to survive, I have to practice bhakti, and I have to go back home, back to Godhead. So if whether my consciousness is changing, whether my desires are changing or not, that will become the reference point to see whether I'm advancing in bhakti or not. But those who are just looking at the material things, for them, they think consciousness is something okay that can be changed later also. But first, we have to change our financial things. First, we have to change our job, our home, our health, and all. So they have a very, ulterior kind of understanding what should be the impact, or what, in what way we can understand the benefits of the bhakti. So as long as we have this material world as the reference, then what will happen, all these changes will start impacting our consciousness, and this world itself becomes so big that we will feel like, the life has a great burden. But when we change our consciousness by chanting, by reading, and by hearing, what will happen? This whole world becomes insignificant, because this is just a one planet Earth, one country, one place which I could see along among the Ananta Koti Brahmandas. So there are so many, many, many universes, and there are many, many planetary systems. There are many, many worlds, and out of that, this is just a small thing. So from the spiritual world perspective, from the ultimate perspective, this is actually so insignificant. Why I have to think so much about it? Okay, let me focus on the Supreme Lord, let me focus on improving my sadhana. So what is happening? So if our focus is only looking at this world, then everything looks very big. But if our focus is actually the spiritual world, the spiritual kingdom, then actually this whole world becomes very small. Earlier when we were children, getting one toy itself becomes our whole world. If I get that toy, we will feel like I don't need anything, right? But as we grow, now we are not fond of toys, right? Our reference is different. Now in childhood, if I get the toy, I'll have all the happiness. Okay, but now our reference is different. Oh, if I have a promotion, if I have a good house, or if I have a good wife, or something or something. So what is happening? Our reference is changing. So whether I am happy or not, to check that what is my reference is gradually changing. So similarly, when we chant, when we read, when we hear in Krishna, and when we stay in association of devotees, our reference will gradually change. Now, today, if someone comes forward to you and asks, like, how you can say whether you are happy or not, or how you can, identify whether you are growing or not, then our parameters will not be material. We'll be thinking like, how much I'm devoted to Krishna, how much I'm sincerely chanting. All those things we will talk about. But earlier we would be talking like, whether we have grown in life or not. Then we will say like, how many cars I have bought, how many houses I have bought, or how many things I possess, and what all positions today I have. So that will become the reference to check whether we have grown in life or not. So what is happening is gradually our consciousness is changing. And when our consciousness goes in that direction, then this whole world seems very insignificant. We are not worried about what is happening in the world. We are concerned. We want good things to happen. A devotee is actually concerned without getting disturbed. Many people think that, when someone becomes a devotee, he becomes like a renounced person and he will say anything and everything. But actually, they are not concerned about it. Like that, they may have a misconception. But actually, devotee is very much concerned with this world. But his world, the world around us will not consume his consciousness in a disturbing way. He wanted to, deliver the fallen souls. He wanted to help the whole world to become Krishna consciousness. In that perspective, he's always there. Okay, but he's not worried. Okay, he's concerned. So what is the difference between worried and concerned? In worry, we actually don't do anything. We are just panic, we are just thinking negative, and we are just stuck. But when we are concerned, we go out of our comfort zone and we try to fix the things. So a devotee is always concerned, but he is not worried or he is not disturbed. Okay, maybe on a temporary matter he may be a little bit disturbed, but on the overall he's never disturbed, because he's always aiming at the spiritual world. So once Prabhupada said in one of the purport that a devotee can be perplexed, but he is never discouraged. So a devotee may have a confusion whether I should do this service or not, whether I should do that service or not, whether I'll be able to serve or not. So many fears will be there, confusions will be there. But he is never discouraged means he will never say like, I don't want to serve Krishna, right? He might have a confusion in what way I should serve Krishna, but he will never have a discouragement and he will not give up serving Krishna, right? So why he will not give up serving Krishna? Because he knows that that is the ultimate thing. And for that service, if some things has to be changed in this world, he will be ready to change. Because for him, the reference is not this world. For him, the reference is Krishna. So like that, our consciousness will grow. Now, Trinikritya Jagat Sarvam, what it will say? It will make the whole world, all the circumstances, all the problems, makes it insignificant. So we will deal with them without getting panic, without getting worried, and we actually focus on Krishna. So wherever our eyes are, our heart will go there. If our eyes are fixed on this material world, our heart cannot be fixed on Krishna. So if our heart has to be fixed on Krishna, our eyes has to be on Krishna. So what we are talking about, this reference is like, is our reference point means, are we looking at this world or are we looking at Krishna? If we look at Krishna, this world will become insignificant. If we look at world, then Krishna will become insignificant and this world becomes very big. So what we have to focus on is we have to focus on Krishna. We have to focus on the spiritual things. So like that, what will happen? We will get advancement in our devotional life. Now, sometimes it is not easy to go ahead in our life. Sometimes we have to make the decisions and all. But even in the Krishna consciousness also, sometimes it is very difficult to take up some decisions and go ahead in life. So that time we have faith in Krishna. Okay. And as long as we have faith in Krishna, we will take one step at a time. So the definition of faith is that even the path is not clear, we will still try to take one step. Just like, when the power goes off, okay, we don't know where to go and how to move and all. But when the torchlight is on, we will know that we have to move towards that direction, right? Now, that torchlight of our mobile may not show or may not enlighten all the whole room, but it will actually give us at least some exposure so that we can take one step ahead. So, similarly, a devotee may be perplexed, but he is never discouraged. Why? Because he has faith in Krishna. And when the problem comes, when the perplexities comes in life, he don't change his reference. Okay, I've been looking at Krishna only, but see, so many problems are coming. So now I'll keep Krishna aside. I'll start looking at the world only. No, he never changes that. He just moves on. So, and in that way only, when he moves, then this whole world becomes like a blade of grass. Okay. And then the next, what we see about this verse is it says, Chidananda Mayam Shuddham. So many things are attractive in this world, but nothing is pure in this world. Okay, we may see many attractive things, but if you see, all the attractive things actually lose their charm with the time. So we see, like, law of diminishing returns, we will see that. So let us say, for example, when we talk about our favorite item, something, okay, so we will feel like, eating that favorite item will be like a joyful thing. Okay, now see the difference. So if you eat, let us say gulab jamun is your favorite, and you ate one, you'll feel ecstatic. You eat the second one, you'll feel nice. You will eat the third, you'll say, okay. But when it comes to the fourth one, then you will ask others also, you also should have. So till the one and two and three, we might not think about others, but the taste is actually decreasing and we'll start thinking about others also. It is not that we are selfless, but now the taste is not coming. And if you eat 10 or 15 gulab jamuns like that continuously, then you will get fed up with the gulab jamun. You will say, I don't want anything now, right? So the same thing which has actually promised pleasure, over a period of time, with its quantity, when it is increasing, the limitation is coming and the taste is decreasing. So in this world, nothing, no matter how much attractive it is, it will lose its charm with time. But when we talk about the holy name, then it is Chidanandamayam. Okay, that means it is filled with joy and consciousness. And because of that, it is ever fresh and it is always giving us the taste. So, Purna Amrita Aswadam, when we talk about Shikshashtakam, right? So, when we say that, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, Vidyavadhu Jeevanam, Anandambhuti Vardhanam, Pratipadam Purnamritaswadanam. Right? At every step, it will give us the nectar. So, like that, this holy name is supremely pure. Okay, and it actually purifies also. We have seen in the first verse, like it is Pavanam, Pavanebhyopi. So it is very purifying also. So it is making the whole world so insignificant that we can focus on Krishna, and the more we focus on Krishna, the more taste is coming. So when we talk about the glories of the holy name, and when we talk about all these big philosophies and all, now our mind will start thinking like, is it really possible that we may get such taste where this whole world becomes insignificant? Because now also I'm chanting from maybe a couple of years or a couple of months, and I still see that many things are still disturbing me, right? So will there be in any situation, any time will come where I do not worry about the things? I may be concerned and I'm not worried. Will that situation come? Will that taste which all these acharyas, great saints are talking, will it come to me? And our mind may say that, it is impossible, because we have seen, we have tested for some time, and I don't think so that it will come. So when our mind actually mocks us by giving these words, we have to have faith in all the words of great saintly people, because they have tasted it and that is why they are giving it. So somewhere our faith in our own mind has to be weakened, so that our faith in the saintly people's words will become strong. Sometimes we become very much confident about our own mind that we actually ignore or devaluing the words of the greatly saint people. So the Shabda, Sadhu, and all the Guru actually giving us the faith that the holy name has the taste, it has the joy, it has the supreme purity. You have to take up. Now we may think like, is it possible, or it is very very long way to go and all. So we may get a discouragement, right? So when we get the discouragement, we should not look only ahead, okay, how far I have to go, but we should actually look back also, and we should see how far we have come. 6 months back or 1 year back or 2 years back, before you started your journey in Krishna consciousness, you never thought like you will be able to follow the four regulative principles. You never thought like you will be reaching to the 16 rounds. Maybe some people are still doing 4 rounds or 8 rounds, but that was also not possible few months back. Now whatever you are doing few months back, few years back, that was impossible for you. So Krishna has already brought us so far. Now Krishna will take us ahead also. Now, it is not that we have come this far on our own. Now we have come this far in spite of us. We being determined and resistant to do anything. Our mind was telling, do not chant, do not hear the class, do not read, and all. Many times it has tried to mock us. But in spite of that, Krishna has pulled us from that place and he has brought us here. So if that same Krishna who has brought us here will take us ahead also. It may look little difficult, little confusing, perplexing, and we may not have an idea whether all these things will happen in future or not, but actually the same faith which has made us come this far can actually take us ahead also. So we have to have faith in Krishna, and we have to take one step at a time, and gradually we'll have the clarity and we'll have the evidence that we are growing. And one of the evidence which I shared just like that, maybe you check that 6 months back, a year back, or 2 years back, whatever was troubling you so much, now it is not troubling you that much. It may be having, you have to deal with that, but it is not taking all your it is not consuming all your consciousness to get that thing done. Okay, so while you're chanting after 1 year before that time, you might have thousands of distractions. Now maybe at least 900 distractions or 800 distractions. So what is happening? Our focus on Krishna is gradually increasing, and we are reducing our distractions. Why? Because the items which generally used to attract us, showing that I'll have a lot of pleasure, and those promises, we now started validating them. Okay, it is not so joyful. We have started understanding How this is happening? Because the holy name is doing the same. So the same holy name which has brought us this far will take us ahead also. Okay, the taste, we may not have taste today, but the taste will come. The taste will manifest as our submission grows, as our hearing grows, as our faith, okay, grows. Then the taste will also grow. So when the Kevalashtakam says that, Trinikritya Jagat Sarvam Rajate Sakalopari Chidanandamaya Shuddham Harir Nameva Kevalam. So it is saying that the world will become an insignificant blade of grass. How? Because when we hear, when we chant, when we read, when we associate with the devotees, our worldview will change. Our consciousness will get pure, and we will start looking this world as insignificant. And how we continue to look at it as an insignificant, because we actually get so much taste. If the whole world comes together, all the attractive things comes together and start giving us the pleasure, then it will still be a drop of pleasure only that we can have. But this holy name association of Krishna actually gives us the ocean of happiness. So compared to that, to drop, the ocean is very, 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 very big. Now, why the great saintly people actually not so much concerned with this world? Because not so much worried about this world, because they actually getting lot of pleasure in Krishna consciousness, and because of that they are ready to give up the things, and they have understood that Chidanandamayam Shuddham is the holy name only, is the Krishna consciousness only. And that's how they get lot of strength to make this world as insignificant as the blade of grass, and they just enjoy the bliss, the ecstasy, and they just continue. And similarly, that same situation can come to us if we go ahead with the faith. So we have to always remember there will be discouragement, but we have to not look ahead only. When it is a discouragement time, we have to look back also. So sometimes in our life we can check that, if something is like fearing us, making us afraid, that whether we can go ahead or not. So we just look back. We were far behind, now we are at a good position at least. Now same Lord who has brought us here can take us far ahead also. So we have to have that faith, and we have to go on, and then the life will become the Chidanandamayam Shuddham. So I'll just recite this verse again so that you can focus, or you can remember what all points I have spoken. त्रीणि कृत्य जगत् सर्वम् त्रीणि कृत्य जगत् सर्वम् राजते सकलोपरि चिदानन्दमयं शुद्धम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम् हरेर्नामेव केवलम्. It makes the entire universe seem insignificant as a blade of grass. It reigns supreme over all in a splendorous manner. It is full of eternally conscious divine ecstasy. It is supremely pure. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. Shri Kevalashtakam ki jai.